All right, we are going to review some key terminology associated with reliability and validity. And we're going to start off with a recap of the three different types of measurement, three different types of measures, because as we discuss reliability and validity, different ones are relevant to different things. So, three different types of measures. The first is a self-report measure. This is where I'm asking you about you. I'm doing an interview. I'm giving you a questionnaire or survey, something of that nature. Fun fact, the word survey is actually misused a lot in research methods. Survey research is where I'm asking you questions. So an interview and a questionnaire are both survey research. That's kind of an umbrella term. And then interview and questionnaire underneath it. But that's what self-report is I'm asking you information about yourself. The next type of measurement is observational research. This is where I am the researcher and watching you and making some sorts of insights, inferences about your behaviors. And then the third is physiological. And this is where I'm measuring something within your body for information. So I'm going to walk through a couple of examples for each of these. Let's say I wanted to measure conflict among romantic partners. A self-report measure might be giving you and your partner a survey and asking, what do you tend to argue about? What is your communication style when you argue? What are some of your barriers of communication that you have when you're arguing? An observational study might be if I sit you down and maybe I've asked you beforehand, what are some topics you tend to argue about? And maybe I give you instructions of, okay, we're going to sit here for 30 minutes. I want you to have a discussion about finances. Let's say you're arguing about finances. And I watch you, and maybe I record changes in your tone of voice, your body language, elevated vocal tones, yelling, criticizing language, things of that nature. But the point is, I'm not giving you a survey of how do you act when you argue. I'm watching you argue, and I'm making my observations. And then physiological would be maybe I do that same thing with observational research where I have you have a discussion about something you disagree on. Maybe I have a blood pressure cuff hooked up to you and I'm watching your blood pressure spikes while you're arguing to get some physical biofeedback on what's happening in your body as you're becoming emotionally activated in this conversation. Another example might be happiness, right? Self-report would be I'm going to give you a question about your overall subjective well-being, life satisfaction, however I'm conceptualizing happiness, right? We've already talked about our construct variables and operationalizing our variables. So maybe I give you a questionnaire about these different things related to happiness. Observational is maybe I read, maybe I'm a fan of Ekman's research, which I am, who says that there are universal displays of human emotion, and one of those is enjoyment or happiness. So maybe I decide I'm going to watch you for a day. I'm going to follow you around and watch you, and I'm going to record that day how many visible indicators you had of enjoyment with your body language, facial expressions, things of that nature. Physiological, maybe I have you hooked up to some different monitoring apparatus and I'm measuring your cortisol levels to see your stress. Or maybe I'm doing some brain scans that can tell me things like levels of stress, levels of emotional activation, and things like that. So this is the difference between our three key types of measures that we're discussing in this chapter: self-report measures, observational measures, and physiological measures. And then next we're going to move on and we're going to do a recap of our main types of variables. And then in the last two videos, we're going to discuss actual ways to assess your reliability and your validity of a study.